Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're putting a new contender in the Web3 ring under the microscope, NPro.
That's right, the utility token for the Near mobile wallet.
Their ambition: to seamlessly blend Web2 ease with Web3 power. A big goal.
Huge. But, a critical voice from one of our sources, Blockrora, provocatively asks something important.
Yeah, is it, quote, another over-engineered carrot for user acquisition, or is it genuinely a game changer, something that could actually bridge the gap for mass adoption?
That's the core question. Our mission today is to, pull back the layers, understand their strategy, and maybe unearth an answer.
And critically, we're not just, listing facts, we're analyzing the implications.
Exactly. Kind of like how a tech journalist at, say, The Verge or MIT Technology Review might approach something promising but still unproven.
We've got insights from the official NPro white paper, that detailed article from blockrora.com you mentioned, and info straight from the NPro and Near mobile websites.
Yeah, so let's see if NPro really holds up, especially when you look closely at the claims and the long-term vision.
Okay, let's start right at the foundation. What exactly is Near mobile, and what unique role is NPro supposed to play here? What's the big picture?
So Near Mobile is presented as fundamentally a non-custodial anonymous wallet. The main pitch is simplifying blockchain stuff.
Which everyone agrees is needed.
Absolutely. Its long-term vision is pretty ambitious, fits right in with Near Protocol's bigger goals, onboarding 1 million users.
1 million, wow.
Yeah, and the focus is on making it super easy to use, intuitive design. That's a major pain point in Web3, right?
Definitely. And NPro.
NPro is positioned as the utility token. It enhances the wallet, gives users exclusive access to features, streamlines things, enriches their experience in the Near ecosystem.
They call it a catalyst for growth, engagement, and innovation.
Strong words, a catalyst.
Is a strong claim. But in Web3, catalyst often translates to premium features behind some kind of paywall, or token wall in this case. What's the actual value prop for a user?
Right. What do you get for holding NPro?
Exactly. What premium stuff are we talking about? And maybe more importantly, what makes it genuinely worth holding NPro for? Are these features indispensable?
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. NPro unlocks several premium features, and it's tiered. The more NPro you hold, the more you unlock.
Okay, like what?
Well, practical things like Apple and Google Pay card integration, that smooths out the fiat to crypto process.
Makes sense.
Then there are advanced analytics tools, portfolio tracking, price alerts for tokens, the kind of thing active users want. For people managing more assets, it offers multiple address management. And for active traders, cashback on in-app swaps and on-ramps.
Okay, those sound useful. What about future plans?
Looking ahead, they're planning an AI chat agent for instant insights, support, access to private support channels, free transactions within the wallet, and even fee-free staking.
Fee-free staking, interesting. So it's a tiered system, kind of like we see everywhere in Web2, right? Streaming, apps.
Pretty much. You have the tiers. What's the breakdown? How does NPro unlock these levels?
Yeah, and are they betting that some of these features will become absolutely essential?
That seems to be the strategy.
Yeah.
So the foundation is the basic tier. Essential non-custodial functions, no NPro needed, your entry point.
Standard stuff.
Then you got the ambassador tier. This one's interesting because it's unlocked with just a small bit of NPro. Small enough that you can apparently get it through simple social actions, follow on X, retweet something.
Ah, okay. So low barrier to entry for some perks.
Exactly. And that tier gets you things like 2 wallet addresses, the Google Apple Pay integration, creating payment requests, push notifications for price alerts.
Okay. And the top tier?
That's the premium tier. Requires a defined, larger amount of NPro. And this unlocks everything. Unlimited wallet addresses, those AI assistants we mentioned, advanced portfolio analytics, private priority support, cashback, downloadable statements, sophisticated market notifications, all the bells and whistles.
Right. But does this tiered model work the same way in Web3?
That's where the Blockrora article raises a really sharp point. It says, and I'm quoting loosely here, token-gated utility only works when the locked features feel indispensable, not optional.
Indispensable, not just nice to have.
Precisely. It makes you wonder, are casual users really clamoring for AI agents in their mobile wallet? Or will most people just stick with the basic free functions? History kind of shows that for a token to get real value from utility, the features behind the gate need to be must-haves.
So it's a strategic gamble. They're betting users will see enough value in the premium stuff to actually buy and hold NPro.
Exactly. It all hinges on perceived value.
Okay, that's a critical point. Let's pivot now to the token's economics. NPro itself. How's it distributed? What's the initial supply, the release mechanism? How does it support this long-term vision?
Right, the tokenomics. The initial supply is fixed,
Yeah.
10 million NPro,
Fixed supply. Okay.
and it's planned for distribution over 5 years. That's deliberate, avoids a big inflationary shock, aims for sustainable growth.
Makes sense. How's it allocated?
The breakdown's quite clear. A massive 60% goes to NPro staking rewards.
60%. That's a lot.
It's a huge incentive for participation, yeah. Then 15% to the Treasury for wallet development operations. 5% for the founding team.
Only 5%. That's relatively low.
It is. Then 10% for marketing and community, driving adoption. And the final 10% for the liquidity pool for initial market stability.
Okay, that 60% for staking rewards really stands out. It definitely signals a strong push for community involvement, attracting stakers, but isn't there a risk there?
What kind of risk?
Well, could such high initial rewards just attract yield farmers looking for quick gains rather than people who actually want to use the wallet long term?
And what about this fair launch claim they make? How fair is it, really?
That's a really perceptive question. It's a classic challenge with high staking rewards, right? Attracting the right kind of user. NPro tries to tackle this by emphasizing the fair launch aspect.
Yeah, meaning no pre-sales, no direct team allocations from the initial release pool, and importantly, no insider minting. The main way to get NPro early is by staking near with the near mobile validator.
Staking near, okay.
And to address your point about farmers versus long-term holders, they use this bonding curve model. Think of it like a faucet that's slowly turned down.
Right.
The amount of NPro released each day steadily decreases over the 5 years. So the last epoch's release will be only 25% of the initial daily amount, which is about 3,038 tokens.
So it creates scarcity over time.
That's the idea. Reward early stakers, yes, but also encourage longer-term holding by signaling a decreasing supply. It's trying to cultivate a more committed base, not just attract hit-and-run farmers.
Interesting mechanism. Now, NPro makes this really striking claim, maybe the most interesting part, deriving intrinsic value from near staking rewards. That sounds ambitious for a Web3 token.
It is ambitious. It's a core part of their innovative design, trying to set themselves apart.
So how does it actually work? What are the mechanics behind this intrinsic value claim?
Okay, so as NPro tokens are released daily from that bonding curve, and simultaneously near staking rewards are received by the system.
From the near staked with their validator.
Exactly. Half of those near staking rewards are automatically used to buy NPro directly from the liquidity pool on the market.
Okay. Creating buy pressure.
Right. Then the other half of the near rewards is paired up with the NPro that was just bought. And added back into the same liquidity pool as new liquidity.
I see. So it constantly buys its own token and deepens the pool.
Precisely. It's engineered to naturally increase liquidity depth over time and, crucially, to drive upward price pressure on NPro by creating that continuous buy demand from the staking rewards.
And what about security? Liquidity pools can be risky.
Good point. They address this directly. The LP tokens, the liquidity provider tokens you get when you add liquidity, are immediately burned.
Burned, meaning destroyed.
Yes, sent to an unrecoverable address. This means that the liquidity added through this mechanism cannot be removed by anyone, not even the team. It prevents a rug pull.
Okay, that is a significant security feature. Burning the LP tokens locks the liquidity permanently.
It's a strong move to build trust and signal long-term commitment.
Right. That sounds robust on paper. Clever feedback loop, burning the LP tokens.
Okay.
Very smart. But let's push on this intrinsic value thing again, because, Web3 markets are volatile.
Extremely.
When Blockrora says it's not a guarantee of appreciation, what are the market forces that could still mess this up, even with this clever mechanism? Could the buyback fail to create that upward pressure?
Oh, absolutely. Look, the mechanism creates buy pressure, yes. Persistent buy pressure. But it's always fighting against potential selling pressure.
From people who earned NPro via staking.
Exactly. If enough stakers decide to just dump their earned NPro to take profits, that buyback might act like a cushion, soften the dip, but it won't necessarily reverse it or guarantee the price goes up.
So the buy pressure might not be enough to overcome sell pressure.
Potentially. Blockrora specifically called out the claim that the price would still see upward pressure, even if 45% of users sell immediately. They called that ambitious and possibly misleading.
Strong words.
It emphasizes that sustained demand still matters. You need people actually wanting to buy and hold NPro for its utility, not just rely on the mechanism.
So the mechanism helps, but doesn't replace real demand.
Right. And the article points out, while your actual near principal use stake is safe, the value of the NPro you earn, that's still subject to market forces, plain and simple.
So despite the no-risk framing because it comes from rewards, NPro itself is still a speculative asset.
Ultimately, yes. The mechanism provides support, maybe reduces downside volatility compared to other tokens, but it doesn't eliminate market risk. It's a constant tug of war between the buyback and market sentiment.
That reframing is crucial for anyone considering getting involved. Okay, moving beyond the token mechanics. Near Mobile has this incredibly ambitious goal, 1 million users.
Huge number.
Especially in Web3, which is often pretty niche. How on earth do they plan to get that kind of scale? User acquisition is tough.
It is. Their strategy is multi-pronged, focuses heavily on viral growth, social incentives, referral rewards.
The usual Web3 growth hacks?
Sort of, yeah. Users can earn NPro for doing simple things, follow on X, retweet posts, invite friends using referral links. Standard playbook stuff.
Okay.
The incentives are also designed to decrease over time in waves. That encourages early adoption and tries to mitigate abuse, like bots just farming rewards.
Right. Reducing rewards over time is common. But does it work for retention?
That's the key question Blockrora raises again. Airdrops can drive clicks, but retention demands actual value.
Exactly. Does the viral buzz stick if the product itself doesn't offer enough ongoing utility to keep people engaged after the initial rewards dry up?
It's like those early mobile apps, remember? Getting downloads was easy, relatively speaking. Keeping users opening the app daily, that was a real challenge.
So how does NPro plan to crack that retention nut beyond just giving away tokens?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or the 1 million user question here.
And it ties into another tension Blockrora pointed out. Near Mobile markets itself as non-custodial and anonymous.
The Web3 ideal.
But they also plan to use Web 2-style social logins, like Google or Apple logins.
Yeah, to streamline onboarding and verify new users for the reward campaigns.
That seems like a direct contradiction, doesn't it? How can you be anonymous if you're linking to a Google account? How do they square that circle?
It's a classic Web 2 versus Web 3 friction point. And yeah, it's a critical area for scrutiny. On one side, social logins make onboarding super easy.
Crucial for hitting that million-user target.
Absolutely. It's familiar, fast, removes the usual crypto wallet setup headaches. But on the other side, Web3's whole ethos is about self-custody, privacy, moving away from centralized giants collecting data.
So how do they justify it?
Their argument is that these logins are only used to verify that participants in acquisition campaigns are unique new users, basically, to prevent people from cheating the reward system. They emphasize the wallet itself remains non-custodial.
So the keys are still yours, but there might be a link to your social account for verification purposes.
That seems to be the idea. But it definitely invites questions about how truly privacy-respecting it is in practice. Does it fully align with the anonymous claim? It's a balancing act.
A trade-off, ease of use for the masses versus the strictest interpretation of Web3 anonymity.
Exactly. They're trying to onboard millions using familiar tools while hopefully retaining the core non-custodial aspect. It's a fine line to walk.
Definitely something to watch. Okay, finally, let's look beyond the launch, beyond user acquisition. What's the long-term vision? Where do Near Mobile and NPro want to go? What's the end game?
Well, the roadmap goes quite a bit further than just the current features. They're talking about some really advanced capabilities.
Like what?
Like near intense. The idea here is to massively simplify complex cross-chain actions.
Cross-chain, meaning between different blockchains.
Yeah. Imagine wanting to swap a token on Ethereum for one on Solana. Right now, that's usually a multi-step nightmare involving bridges, different apps.
It's painful.
Near intense aims to abstract all that away. You state your goal, swap X for Y, and the wallet figures out the cheapest, fastest way to do it across chains, handling the complexity behind the scenes.
Wow, okay. True chain abstraction, that would be huge.
It would be. They're also planning decentralized AI agents built right into the wallet.
AI in the wallet, for what?
For personalized portfolio management, market insights. Basically an AI assistant helping you navigate crypto. And they're aiming for completely frictionless onboarding, making wallet creation as easy as sign up for Instagram or something.
Ambitious plans. When are they aiming for this?
The official NPro token launch is slated for Q4 2025. But there's a pre-launch campaign in Q3 2025 where people can start earning NPro early through referrals and missions. So the timeline isn't decades away.
Okay. Near intense. AI agents. These features definitely sound like they could make Near Mobile a genuine gateway to the wider ecosystem, lowering those barriers to entry.
For sure. But, as Blockrora cautions, building decentralized AI agent and abstracting away multi-chain friction is hard and expensive.
What are the biggest hurdles they face? Is it just the tech?
The tech challenges are immense, no doubt. Interoperability, security, decentralized computation for AI.
Yeah.
It's cutting-edge stuff. But honestly, the biggest hurdles might be user adoption and trust.
Trust.
Yeah. Will people actually trust a decentralized AI agent to manage their portfolio? Can chain abstraction be truly seamless without making advanced users feel like they have lost control or transparency?
Good points. It's not just about
No.
building it, but making it usable and trustworthy.
Exactly. Success hinges not just on the code, but on the user experience and building genuine confidence. Can they make these powerful tools feel safe and intuitive for everyday people? That's the real test.
So we've done a pretty deep dive here into NPro and Near Mobile, from the utility claims, the tokenomics, that interesting intrinsic value mechanism.
To the aggressive user growth plans and that ambitious future roadmap with AI and intents.
It's definitely a project trying to learn from past Web3 mistakes, particularly around user experience.
You can see the thought that went into the tokenomics. The fair launch, locking the liquidity, tying value to staking rewards. It shows a certain maturity.
And Near Mobile's focus on growth and innovation, pushing things like intents and AI, you have to give them credit for aiming high.
Absolutely. But, like so many promising Web3 projects, it's still a high-wire act, isn't it?
It feels like it.
And that final assessment from Blockrora really sticks. It's worth keeping in mind. Whether NPro becomes a flagship utility token or fades into the noise will come down to execution, utility, and adoption.
Can they deliver the features? Can the token hold value? Can they keep users after the rewards fade?
Those are the fundamental questions. Execution is everything.
Indeed. So as you think about everything we've discussed, what single aspect of NPro's strategy do you believe will be the most critical factor, the make or break point for hitting mass adoption? Is it the intrinsic value claim, the tiered features, the growth hacks?
That's tough. If I had to pick one, I think it might be whether those premium token-gated features truly become indispensable.
Back to that core utility question.
Yeah, the buyback mechanism is clever support, the growth hacks can bring people in, but long-term value and retention. That usually comes down to whether people need what the token unlocks. If the premium features are just nice-to-haves, the whole thing might struggle. But if they nail something essential, then maybe.
A fascinating experiment to watch unfold, for sure.